Day 12. The Taiwanese volunteer movement. When he saw the crowds, he had compassion for them, because they were harassed and helpless, like sheep without a shepherd. Then he said to his disciples, "The harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. Therefore pray earnestly to the Lord of the harvest to send out laborers into his harvest." Matthew 9 verses 36 to 38. In a dream, the faces of historic missionaries passed by, all of whom had served Taiwan and given their lives to establish the gospel here through the years. The Lord spoke in the dream and said, "To whom much is given, much is required." Luke 12 verse 48. The dream interpretation made clear that Taiwan has been a place of receiving for more than 400 years. Now, it is time to send out the truth. Here's a little history. Dutch missionaries brought the gospel to Taiwan in 1624, first arriving in modern-day Tainan. Their brief work ended in 1662 with the Ming dynasty's takeover of the island. Many of those saints were martyred, and more than 200 years of gospel silence followed their sacrifice. Then, in 1865, the pioneering work of Presbyterian missionary James Maxwell established the first Christian church in Taiwan. Today, approximately 6% of Taiwan is Christian, and the church continues to grow thanks to the ongoing work of God's faithful servants. There are moments in history when God sets apart people, groups, and generations for his divine purposes. At the end of the 19th century, he called college students in the United States and Britain to give their lives for the mission field. In a few short years, more than 20,000 young people answered that call, and it became known as the Student Volunteer Movement. God is now setting the stage for the next great missionary thrust to reach the lost. Do you realize that Taiwan is the only Chinese-speaking place in the world to remain free? That makes this beautiful island a unique place, a consecrated place, from which to respond to the Lord's last command. Go therefore and make disciples of all nations. Matthew 28 verse 19. God is raising up a new generation of volunteers from Taiwan who will carry the gospel with a fresh missionary zeal and, perhaps, complete the Great Commission in their generation. Can you see it? Maybe not yet, but it's coming. It has already begun and will grow quickly. Let's call it the Taiwanese volunteer movement and pray to the Lord of the harvest to send out laborers from this beautiful island. Ways to pray. Pray for a missionary movement to arise from Taiwan. Pray that the Lord would call, equip, and send out laborers from Taiwan to unreached and unengaged people groups. Pray for missionary training centers and programs to be strengthened, funded, and multiplied across Taiwan. Pray for missionaries already serving in the harvest field. Pray for their protection, strength, encouragement, and financial provision. Pray this prayer with us. Lord of the harvest, I ask you to raise up a great missionary movement out of Taiwan that will impact the nations with the power of the gospel. Multiply laborers from Taiwan and mark them with a burden to see the lost saved and your kingdom advanced. Anoint these laborers with boldness and power to preach salvation through Jesus Christ. Count me as part of this generation who will offer our lives to see your glory fill the earth. Lord, raise up the Taiwanese volunteer movement.